Salam, and welcome to MAXPitch, the high-stakes reality show where visionary founders pitch trailblazing business ideas to a panel of seasoned investors, also known as the funders. Entrepreneurs from all industries are carefully selected for a chance to impress the funders with their groundbreaking ideas and sharp business acumen. Will they secure the coveted funds and mentorship to turn their dreams into a breakthrough? Stay tuned to find out. As always, we have an innovative lineup of founders, so let's get to know them. First, Sakeena Mihar, Savyn. Savyn is a neurotech platform using neuroscience to support mental well-being to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression at a lower cost. It's accessible in different languages and geographies, all without homework or stigma. Next, Jawwad Hasan, Agrilift. Agrilift is an AI-based precision farming platform that helps improve crop yield and profitability across all stages of the seed to harvest lifecycle. And finally, Tariq Alinur, BrainCX. BrainCX is an AI-driven customer engagement platform that replicates top-performing agents to deliver natural, human-like conversations at scale. They're reducing costs by up to 70% and increasing conversions by 30%. All in all, it seems like we've got quite the impressive lineup of founders here today, and I'm excited to engage with them in their upcoming pitches. Next up, let's introduce the funders. Bilal Khan, Intuition Capital. Bilal brings with him 2 decades of experience in finance, business, technology, and law. He is currently the managing partner of We Shall Investments, a premier private equity firm with a portfolio of investments across North America and the Caribbean. With a proven track record as an operator, advisor, and investor, Bilal is responsible for leading the firm's overall management, steering the growth of its portfolio companies, and guiding new investments. Shastri Mahadeo, Friday Ventures. Shastri is a serial entrepreneur, seasoned operator, and angel investor who has built 3 multi-million-dollar companies in the AI and fintech space. He has raised over $23 million from top funds and sold softwares to Fortune 100 companies. Now, we've talked about the founders and we've talked about the funders, but there's one demographic we haven't addressed, and that's all of you. The show would not be complete without your overwhelming enthusiasm and support, so thank you for being here today. I can't wait to hear about the lived experiences and successes that have grown both our founders and funders. Without further ado, I'm your guest host, Nour Obeidallah, and this is MAXPitch. All right. Hello, everybody. Great to have you all here. I am Nour Obeidallah. I'm going to be the host of today's episode, and welcome to episode 7 of MAXPitch. We're going to have a slide go up that's going to ask you all to just repeat what's happening in the comments and let us all know where you're coming. But in the meantime, I just want to talk about the lineup happening today, give a brief introduction on myself and my org, and we'll go from there. So like I said, my name is Nour. I'm the co-founder of Friday. We're a community-based org built to supercharge Muslim-led businesses by connecting them to community and capital. We're over 1,000 people strong right now, spanning founders, investors, and expert operators. You can learn more about us at fridayhq.co and apply for membership there. You can stay tuned to the end of the episode to hear a little bit more about collaborations happening between Max and Friday, where I'm based in New York. So outside of Friday and my work developing that over the last year with one of our funders on the call, I've also been operating in the startup ecosystem across venture capital firms and startup accelerators over the last several years, primarily in New York. So I'm really excited to be with you all to facilitate this session. I think we're going to have some new people joining this episode. That's the season finale. So I'm going to give you a really quick overview of what to expect. I'm going to turn it over. We're going to have 3 pitches and demos happening by 3 incredible founders. After each pitch and demo, I'm going to moderate a little conversation with the funders that we have here, Bilal and Shastri, get some insight for them, let them have a little bit of a conversation with the founders. Then we're going to turn it to you guys. We'd love to hear from you all in a poll that's going to show up on the screen, similar to what's happening right now. We'll turn it back over and we'll go from there. While this is a reality show and we're so excited to be able to showcase these founders, I want to remind you all that MERN and the Max ecosystem have been able to directly facilitate $4 million of investments through these forums. So we're really excited to be here to be enabling it all. And that said, I think we should hop into our first company. So Bear with me as I pull up my notes and introduce Tariq Alinur, co-founder and CEO of BrainCX. BrainCX is an AI-driven customer engagement platform that replicates top-performing agents to deliver natural, human-like conversations at scale. They're reducing costs by up to 70% and increasing conversions by 30%. Tariq, the floor is yours.
Good morning and salam alaikum, and thank you for this opportunity. So I'd like to start by having you imagine you're at the airport. You're tired, your flight just got canceled. You call customer service, already bracing yourself for hold music, robotic voice prompts, and that dreaded press one for English, para español dos. But instead, a calm, empathetic voice answers right away. They fix your issue. They speak your language. They treat you like a human being. You breathe a sigh of relief. Now here's the twist. That voice, it's not a person. It's BrainCX AI. Every business wants to scale their best employees. The ones who close deals, calm angry customers, and build real loyalty. But hiring them costs over $85,000 a year. So what do most companies do? They outsource offshore. But let's be honest, language barriers, cultural friction, and constant turnover don't just hurt the customer experience, they ruin it. I know this problem because I've lived it. So I'm Tariq Alinur, a British American based in South Florida. I founded First Source, India's first publicly traded BPO. I've led award-winning CX team, winning the JD Powers Award at JP Morgan, worked for Apple and Spirit Airlines. Now I'm solving this problem again, but this time not with more people, with AI agents trained by your best. BrainCX is the world's first AI staffing agency. Think ChatGPT meets your top performing employee. Our AI agents don't just respond, they sell, support, and engage like seasoned professionals. Our mode, we're the only platform focused on building highly scalable, trusted AI agents for regulated industries. We clone the DNA of your best reps using behavioral science, communication psychology, and decades of real-world CX expertise. We've locked down the IP behind our proprietary training and exclusive data sets, making our marketplace of vetted agents defensible, repeatable, and impossible to clone. No other AI voice platform is built like this because they're not run by CX operators. These agents go live in under 7 days, speak over 100 languages, but plug seamlessly into CRMs, EMRs, and scheduling platforms. We're already live and scaling fast. We serve over 15 plus universities and several healthcare providers. StackRad Learning doubled revenue and saved 1.5 million in just 2 weeks. We're supporting a major French education provider with Parisian French. We're the trusted partner with Go Crisis, a crisis management firm delivering multilingual support during disasters like airplane incidents. And we're integrating a digital navigator, a Sherpa, if you will, into Class Wallet, guiding grant recipients across North America through very complex processes. And here's the best part. Every client we've launched has expanded. Our agents prove their value immediately. The customer experience market is massive, 95 billion and growing fast. Google and Microsoft are building billions of AI agents. Sequoia Capital calls 2025 the year of AI agents. But while tech giants build infrastructure, we're building the front line. We're not just automation, we're performance. We're on pace to achieve 1 million in ARR by Q3 and over 2.5 million in Q4. We're on pace to be cash flow positive. BrainCX is positioned to become the Salesforce of AI-powered staffing, a new category of enterprise-grade emotionally intelligent agents. Our platform is built for scale. We leverage a one-to-many strategy, partnering with PE firms and large resellers to expand our reach. And we're also rolling out our own AI sales agents so we can grow faster with lower cost per acquisition and 24/7 outreach. Our team is ready. Joe Morgan, a former CEO of 2 leading ed tech companies. My son, who I'm very proud of, Omar Alinur, is a Carnegie Mellon graduate in robotics and AI engineering with 2 provisional patents. Our board advisor is a former executive at Disney, WestJet, and JetBlue. So we've bootstrapped BrainCX to this point, proving the model, building real traction, and delivering results for our clients. Now, for the very first time, we're open to investments to accelerate our growth, expand into new markets, and build additional industry-specific AI agents. Today, we're opening up our Series A round, raising $5 million to scale our proven model, expand into new markets, and build industry-specific AI agents across education, healthcare, travel, and finance. Now that you heard about the platform or the opportunity, let me give you a chance to experience it. And so I'd like to invite one of the sharks to really participate and interact with one of our demos. And I want to set the stage, if you will. Our current client, ThriveWorks, recently had an RFP. And we built a demo, this demo that you're going to experience here. We beat Salesforce, we beat NICE, we beat the top 5 AI platforms as the most realistic, human-like, and most effective AI. And so we're very proud of what you're about to see here. And so I'm going to ask one of the sharks to interact with it as if you're booking an appointment for your child, say for anxiety, and you'll need to provide a US zip code. That's probably the only odd thing, but feel free to act and interact with it in the event that you're trying to book an appointment. So who'd like to try that?
Tariq, I'd love to give it a shot.
Wow, perfect. Thank you for doing this. So I think you may have the link already. So if you wouldn't mind pulling it up for us.
Sure. Let me share my screen here. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, perfect.
We can see it.
Great. Okay.
So go ahead and click and say the yellow booking button, and hopefully we should be able to hear you and hear you speaking to it as well.
Okay, and so let me just caveat: I've never really interacted or played much with this at all, so I'm a bit of a newbie. So this will all be done in real time.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling ThriveWorks. This is Harper. How can I assist you today?
Hi, Harper. Look, I don't have a lot of time. I'm actually, and I'm really frustrated. I need to book this appointment as quickly as possible. I've got a really big issue that needs to get resolved.
I hear you, and I'm here to help you get this taken care of quickly. Before we begin, can I confirm your zip code? This will help me find the best options for you.
I don't have the zip code on me right now. Can I give that later?
That's okay. We can proceed without it for now. May I have your name, please, so I can assist you further?
Bilal?
Thank you, Bilal. If you ever feel you're experiencing an emergency, please call 911 or go to your nearest ER. Now, I have a couple of quick questions to help match you with the right therapist. Are you currently experiencing an emergency?
So it's not for me, it's for my son.
Got it, Bilal. I understand this is for your son. Let's make sure we find the right support for him. Is he currently experiencing an emergency?
He is not.
Thank you for letting me know. Has your son done counseling before, or would this be his first time?
This would be his first time. While it's not an emergency, it is really important.
I completely understand, Bilal. It's important to get the right support for your son, and I'll make sure we move quickly to help. Does your son have insurance, or would you prefer to self-pay?
I will self-pay.
Thank you for sharing that, Bilal. Which type of therapy are you looking for your son? Options include individual therapy, family therapy, or child therapy.
Child therapy.
Thank you, Bilal. For child therapy, is your son struggling with something specific like anxiety, depression, grief, trauma, or something else? This will help us find the best match.
Anxiety. He's always anxious about any event that's about to come up, whether it's a test or an exam or a basketball game that he's playing in. I need him to just calm down and relax a bit more.
I hear you, Bilal, and it sounds like you're doing the right thing by seeking support for your son. Based on what you've shared, we'll match him with a therapist who specializes in child therapy and anxiety. Let's find a time that works for you. What days and times are most convenient for his sessions?
Weekends morning.
Thank you, Bilal. I'll match your son with a therapist who is available on weekend mornings and specializes in child therapy for anxiety. The appointment is confirmed. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
Yeah, I have one question before we go. Why are you so angry?
Oh, I'm not angry at all, Bilal. I'm here to help and make this process as smooth as possible for you. If there's anything else you need, I'm happy to assist.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Thank you for choosing ThriveWorks, Bilal. We appreciate your trust, and I hope your son's session goes well. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. Take care.
Thanks.
What do you think of that, Bilal?
I just stopped sharing if that's good. You can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was incredible. Tariq, do you have anything else you want to mention on the pitch or the demo before I turn it over to the funders?
Well, you know, a couple things. We are focused in, as I mentioned, on highly regulated industries. One of the reasons we did this is we knew that if we can solve these very complex interactions in verticals like healthcare and higher education, we believe that we can do this in just about any industry. And so in these environments, we need to have HIPAA compliance, SOC 2 compliance. There's a whole host of privacy issues. That conversation you just had, we have to redact any private patient information. And so by building this in this way and starting with really what we think is the most complex interactions, everything else becomes a lot easier. So I wanted to just demonstrate this. This is a winning proposal. And again, we beat Salesforce, which is the premier brand who's talking about building billions of AI agents. So that's what I'd like to share, and love to get any feedback from you and hear what you think.
Super. Thank you. I am going to turn it over to the funders. Since Bilal just did the demo, let's start with you. Do you have any thoughts, questions to bounce back to Tariq to keep the conversation going? And then we'll give Shastri a chance to jump in. But anybody in the audience, please feel free to jot some questions down in the comments. We'll keep an eye on it, maybe pitch them up when we're giving the judges some time to think through their decisions. But we can make this an all-inclusive conversation. So Bilal, to you.
Yeah, you know, as much as I know about AI, and I understand the magnitude of it and the impact it's going to have on our lives. Every time I interact with it, I'm still awed. Like it was pretty incredible. Obviously, everyone saw me interact with it. That was unscripted, unprepared. I'll be full transparency. It was smooth, and she was calming. She wasn't frustrating. She pronounced my name.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I was like, that part, I was like, this is where it's all going to fall apart.
You should have said your name was like Salahuddin or something like that.
So I was like, this is where it's going to go down, right? But no, she did. She pronounced it well, and she kept me calm, even though maybe I was anxious or you know, obviously concerned about a child. I played around with it a little bit, and it played, you know, it interacted. I threw it a little bit of a curveball. So look, I think it's fantastic. I would say, I love that you're focusing on regulated industries, because that makes it, there's like some friction there, right? So it's not just an API, it's not just a tool you're building in, but you're scraping data on the back end, and you're ensuring privacy and compliance, which is, I think, like creates a little bit of a moat here, which is particularly important. So I just want to share some feedback as it relates, just some commentary as it relates to my interaction with it. My question, though, is what channels are you using to get this product out there? You said you had some schools and some healthcare facilities. Like, are those the two verticals that you're focused on? And how are you getting it to your customer, and how are you converting with them?
Yeah, great question. So two things was our CRO, which is joining us, is Joe Morgan. Joe Morgan is one of the industry best well-known individuals in the higher education vertical. We are speaking to a number of private equity firms, as well as what's called OPMs. They represent large university chains. So Joe's gotten us into this higher education space. We have about 45 leads in the pipeline right now. We can't keep up with it, to be quite honest. On the healthcare side, it's been much more organic. through my network and partnerships we're forming. We're forming a partnership with a couple companies that really want to take this and manage revenue cycle management and things like that. But we haven't even launched yet our own AI agent. So we can have our own sales AI agent to go out there and make outbound calls to, generate more leads. But to be quite honest with you, we literally are overwhelmed right now. This is the first time, I'll tell you, in my career, and I've been in the BPO space for almost 30 years. I have never seen demand like this. Every day we're pitching 2 or 3 demos.
My main question had, and I saw someone commented as well too, is why is this better than Salesforce? I mean, I understand there's a lot behind it, but that's a bold statement. I mean, clearly it's really good. I mean, I was actually surprised even the pitch changed at the end of the voice, and there was some like situational awareness going on there. But what makes you better than Salesforce right now? I mean, what's behind the scenes?
Yeah, there's 2 things that we focused on that's really important to know. Human speech, when we call it turn taking, when you speak and when the AI speak, in human conversation, that's about 250 milliseconds. Most of our competitors are still at 2,000 to 3,000 milliseconds. So when you interact with a lot of these, it still sounds delayed. It's a little clunky. It's slow. That's one of the areas we really focused in on and mastering that. But I think getting back to the Salesforce question, one is, we have really focused on trying to find the attributes that make a great conversation. What's different about us is that our AI agents are going to be fully tested, vetted. We're going to make sure that when they speak, they're leveraging all our past things that we have learned and continue to iterate on that. Buy something from Salesforce or somewhere else, you're just buying an off-the-shelf AI that you have to sit there and tune and master over months. And I will tell you, as someone who's bought a lot of this tech over the years, the amount of money that's wasted by firms that buy things and get frustrated because they don't have IT professionals and AI experts internally to go do this. If you can buy a solution like ours that's plug and play and you're up in 7 days, I think that's the real moat right there. It's our ability to get you performing with this tool right away instead of spending $500,000 with Salesforce so they can come in and try to figure out and learn your business.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
No, Shastri, you're great. Keep going. But there are some great questions coming into the comments if you want to reemphasize those as well.
Yeah, I think probably the one I'm asking is to one of these. So so if you're customer support, for example, right? When you're thinking about regulated industries and so on, what do you have to integrate with to get data? Like, let's say you're working with a booking, like a medical practice. You obviously have to tie into their booking systems. You have to tie into some sort of their systems to say, hey, Bilal, thanks for calling. I see that you have an appointment in this date. I see that your last visit was X and Y and Z. Do you have to integrate those systems to kind of like pull up that information, or is it just kind of like free without any integrations?
That's why we need the money. So I'll tell you, on the higher ed space, integrated CRMs like Salesforce, HubSpot, we do that right now. We're fully integrated. On the healthcare side, it's been a lot more challenging. Things like scheduling into a calendar, every one of our customer needs that. That's fairly easy to do. But when you get into these EMRs, unfortunately, many of them have no APIs. They're closed infrastructure. And we're having to really sit there and design our PAs and other unique ways of connecting in and grabbing information and still doing that in a HIPAA compliant format. So this money is really what we want to be able to do is to lower our acquisition costs. So when we implement, we don't have to spend a lot of money or charge a lot to integrate into an EMR. Once we build those integrations, now we can scale this very, very quickly, lower that barrier so that it doesn't cost a lot to integrate.
You may not need to build all those integrations. I mean, you guys could probably go to like Next Health if you've ever heard of them. Muslim Brothers as well. They have all the integrations with EMRs, and I think you can get just connections from them as well too. It might be a cheaper, easier way to do this. And the other thing I was going to add to it is that it seems like you're trying to focus on a lot of different areas. And a lot of people in the comments as well have said this, that doubling down on 1 or 2 areas, especially the HIPAA compliant area, actually gives you some sort of like moat that you can build in there. It may be worth it for you to double down on those areas, because most of the times, especially in healthcare, I mean, you're gonna have people calling up that their kid's sick, right? And or they're gonna be frustrated, and they're like, I don't want to. Even myself, I don't want to talk to an AI. I mean, I can tell it's an AI because you told me. Would I be able to tell if you didn't tell me? Maybe not. Sometimes I get sales calls. I'm like, is this actually a real person? So I will say that you do have a risk of burning through a lot of cash if you try to focus on a bunch of industries at once.
And if I can just address that, the two industries right now is higher ed and healthcare. Once we burn through that, and that'll take a while, I think the higher ed space, there's so many unique use cases that we can do there. So we are pretty focused on those two. If we find the opportunity, and we're going to be very strategic about this, we'll expand into other areas like finance or travel and those types of things. But right now, those two are the real focus areas.
Remind me what the revenue is again.
So right now we're right over 500,000. We've only been doing this since December of last year. We pivoted from being a call center company to being a fully AI engine about a year ago and launched our first client in December. By next month we'll be at 1 million ARR, and we have enough in that pipeline that'll get us to 2 to 2.5. I think by September.
Everyone says that though, right? Like by this time of next year, pipeline this. I mean, I say it all the time too when I raise money. Is it real? I don't know. Maybe it is.
Well, we're going to save these conversations for hopefully a due diligence call after this. Right. We're going to give you guys 60 seconds on the clock. While we're doing that, we're going to pull up a poll for the rest of the audience here to be able to engage, share some thoughts on the pitch and demo we saw. And I'm going to come back to both of you, Bilal and Shastri, on your thoughts on whether you want to keep moving forward with conversations. So the team, if we can pull up that poll for the rest of the audience here while we give Bilal and Shastri some time to consider if they want to keep going into due diligence with Tariq. All right. We're very active in the comments. Let's see some responses on the polls.
Everyone's stage shy.
And after this, we're going to have a QR code. So if you're in the audience and you're interested in a call, you're going to be able to connect with them, and the Max team will be able to facilitate those introductions to also have those organic conversations. So stay tuned for that after we hear from the funders. Yeah, Tariq, seems like the audience was really excited about this. Yeah. I hope you have a chance to go into the comments after this, and they'll exist throughout the rest of this episode.
Thank you. I'd love to send some of the demos out so anyone can really try it on their own if they're interested, and they can do exactly what Bilal did on their own. So happy to share some demo links.
No, that'd be amazing. Thank you. All right. Team, I think I'm going to move over to hearing back from the funders now. Bilal, again, you started with the demo. Any interest in continuing the conversation and learning more about BrainCX?
So, look, I'll just double down on a couple of points Shastri made. I think focusing on a very specific use case is going to be really important here. I see a lot of AI companies, and while the wrapper is really slick, and this is what this is, there's an AI wrapper around this, it's so important to get under the hood and understand what makes this particularly unique, what is going on behind the scenes that creates a unique value proposition here. So look, I'm interested in learning more. I want to see under the hood. I want to see what's going on behind the wrapper. So in that sense, I'm in.
And Shastri, how about you?
Yeah, same. I'd love to get under the hood a little bit more. Again, because we also see a lot of AI companies, and wrappers can be repeatable across other companies and things. So I really want to understand what's unique here. How does it work? Is it the vertical? Is it what you're focusing on? So I'm into digging more.
All right. 2 for 2. Amazing. Okay, we're coming up on time, so we're going to move quickly. But before we go on to the next pitch and demo, we do want to put up the QR code. If anybody in the audience wants to be able to continue having this conversation, I know we only have 2 funders up here, but there are many more in the audience. You can take a moment, scan this QR code, and like I said, the Max team will be able to facilitate this introduction. And we'll keep this up for a minute before we transition to our next pitch.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tariq. All right, on to our next. I'm very excited to be able to introduce Sakeena Mihar, CEO and founder of Savyn. Savyn is a neurotech platform using neuroscience to support mental well-being to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression at a lower cost. They're accessible in different languages and geographies without homework or stigma. Sakeena, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Imagine living through war, displacement, and trauma. And when you finally reach safety, the care you desperately need is either unavailable, it's unaffordable, or simply takes too long to work. For millions of refugees, including me when I moved to Canada as a refugee many years ago, the system that was meant to restore hope failed even to show up. Traditional therapy can take 20 weeks or more to show results, if it even shows results at all. The dropout rates are as high as 25% after just a few weeks, and much higher after. At Savyn, we knew there had to be a better way. So beyond refugees, the silent mental health crisis extends into boardrooms, classrooms, and homes. Even employees in so-called safe environments are quietly battling stress, anxiety, and burnout, often rooted in old, unresolved trauma. Without solutions, companies face high turnover, absenteeism, and lost productivity. So we took a hard look at the facts. We listened to those affected and studied the science and confronted the limitations of the current system. We realized the brain is trying to protect us, but sometimes it misfires and it holds us back. And traditional talk therapies are too slow, too expensive, or too inaccessible for people who need them the most. So the solution is our platform, which is a neuroscience web-based platform that reprograms the brain, responds to strain and stress faster and more effectively than traditional therapies. Using our proprietary method with IP, we activate certain specific brain frequencies to rewire difficult memories and train the brain to recognize this fact that you are safe now. We did 3 years of R&D to achieve these results with a team of PhD neuroscientists, therapists, and technologists, with a clinical validation of our model at the leading research hospital at Sick Kids Research with adults and the University of Toronto that showed 60% reduction in symptoms in just 8 weeks, just over 2 months, with a 92% adherence rate, which meant they kept coming back to our platform. So our platform is 3 times faster, 6 times more effective than traditional talk therapies. And it requires just 30 minutes per week of over 8 weeks. There's no homework, there's no burnout, there's no talking and revisiting your old traumas, just healing. Today, we are live. We are generating real revenue. We are changing real lives. We are deployed across Canada with many refugee agencies as our partner, including FCJ, the Refugee Center, Sakeena Canada, among others. We are also live in Syria, working with aid agencies in internally displaced persons with Mulham team and running pilots in the Middle East, including Lebanon. So our market attraction so far, we've achieved $500,000 in revenue, starting with humanitarian partnerships and wellness initiatives. We were priced at $250 a user, but we quickly realized we have to revisit pricing. So we are moving to a different model of $400 per user. As a result of humanitarian funding, slowing down with US aid shutting down. We have also pivoted to a Robinhood model where we are now having discussions with large corporations, and specifically in the Middle East, for corporate wellness. We've had multiple discussions with Tim Hortons in the Middle East, Qatar Airways, and hospitals such as RAK in the UAE. And we are already with other discussions in the pipeline and with business incorporations on the way. We need the dollars to unlock hypergrowth to scale to these markets that are eager to use our technology. Our forecasted financials include 1 million in revenue next year by onboarding 2,000 users, 3.7 million by scaling to 9,500 users, powered by our expansion to corporate wellness in the Middle East. Our corporate clients already show strong demand. Businesses want to create psychologically safe workplaces faster and more affordably. Mental health is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. Employees know that mental health equals better retention, performance, and profits. And refugees know their survival isn't complete without healing. So why us? Why Savyn? We are IP protected, scalable tech. We are in multiple languages, including Arabic, French, Spanish, and English, and expanding. And cultural sensitivity is baked into all of our modules. We have massive new pipelines opening in the Middle East, including the UAE, Qatar, and Lebanon, among other countries. And our team includes neuroscientists, therapists, and a co-founder with multiple exits, and humanitarian activists who know that we will deliver these results based on our performance so far. We are building the bridge between humanitarian need and scalable innovation, and it's working. So we are seeking a pre-seed round of 300,000 USD to accelerate our market expansion, enhance our tech and AI personalization, and grow corporate partnerships. The brain is trainable. Healing is possible. I invite all of you to try us out, and you will see the results. And with Savyn, people, whether refugees or employees, can reclaim their futures in weeks instead of years. The future of mental health is innovative, faster, more dignified, and global. Join us. Let's change the world by rewiring one brain at a time. And to demonstrate, we will do a quick demo. I'm wondering who's doing the demo for me. So just a note, this demo is at 10x speed, and we are showing you only very specific aspects of it. And if someone can skip to maybe the 2-minute mark, that'd be great. So here you can see that we are doing some grounding exercises. The person on the left is one of our team members to do the demo purposes, and what's on the right is our actual platform. And this is where the activation of the brain frequencies happen with the rapid eye movements. When you do this, we are able to access those deep traumatic memories and rewire. And because we are using these techniques, there isn't a lot of talking, so we remove the stigma part of it. Culturally, a lot of our communities do not want to revisit the past or talk too much about what's holding them back. And we found that because there isn't a lot of talking, and this is actually just going in and training the brain, that we are having much faster results as well. And if it's also possible, I would like to also play.
Oh, Sakeena, you went on mute.
Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Okay, I would also like to play a quick testimonial of a refugee who used our platform, and this testimonial was sent to us in just 4 weeks of using our platform.
Hi, Jasmine. How are you? I just wanted to
hear?
give you a little feedback on how it's been going on lately. Well, the pretty interesting thing is that I'm getting pretty triggered during the session, usually during the first or second EMDR video. So I would think about it, and I would really get triggered. So mainly I would feel tears immediately going up, and I would just feel uneasy, But usually after the third or fourth video of EMDR, I'm feeling way better. Even when I think about the memory, it is not as triggering. It's like magic, really. Yeah, and I've noticed some changes also in my life. I don't know if it's related, but I'm starting being more consistent on some things that I've been putting off, like some weight loss, some just self-care. Yeah, I'm just starting also maybe to love myself a little bit more.
And just a very quick one by another person.
A very simple technique, but it helps so much for me to take it much easier than before, like to feel much better than before.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question if I can chime in real quick. And I feel that people in the audience might also have this question. Can you just talk about the dot that goes back and forth on the screen and what exactly that's doing?
So our platform is based on a therapy called EMDR, or eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. So what it does is we need to activate like rapid eye movements, and the ball that is going across the screen is set to a specific frequency. And when you the brain has different frequencies. So for example, I don't know if you've heard about it, we have alpha, beta, theta, gamma. So for example, theta is like when we are just waking up and you hit the snooze button. That's when our subconscious is most active, and we can actually reprogram, because most of the trauma and the anxiety and the stress is just a silent voice that we have on the back of our mind that we are not even aware of. So we are able to tap into the subconscious mind that says, oh, you're not good enough, or you didn't do well at this pitch, or whatever is your critical voice inside. And sometimes you're aware of it and sometimes you're not aware of it. So that theta activation, we can do the theta activation by moving the ball that you saw moving across. We can access it by moving it up and down. So we actually have that training program in our platform too. But with the rapid eye movement back and forth horizontally, it activates the alpha brainwaves, which is very similar to when you're completely zen, or when you're in a completely meditative state, or like when you're doing your salah. Like that's when your brain is like really calm, and we are able to activate that. And then there are a few steps in the middle where we are able to reprogram the wiring. So think of whenever you're triggered, think of it as your brain going from point A to point B, and making you feel like it thinks like, oh, you're not safe. That's why you're triggered and highly anxious. So what our program does is it activates a different circuit that says from point A to point B, you have a different circuit. You're safe now. And that's how we do it. And it's really, really amazing how we are able to heal ourselves just by accessing these different parts using these eye movements.
Amazing. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to the judges, Shastri.
I have a lot of questions and comments about this. So I was like holding them back. So I'm one of those people that actually don't have a stigma around therapy. I do therapy. So, I mean, a lot of the things that I even discovered in therapy, I was like, wow, I didn't know that was like a trigger for me or trauma for me as a kid and things of the sort, and being, anyways. So it's interesting to see that the eye stuff is the eye movements and thing. The one comment I have, one of many comments or questions, is I guess some of the relief that I would get when in therapy is actually physically talking about a thing, right? So I wonder how the non-verbal and non-talkative things is helpful in a way, because sometimes I just want someone to hear me vent, right? Or something to hear me vent. So that's one helpful for me. So I don't know if you see that. Secondly, and let me know if you want me to stop or you want me to continue.
Sorry.
Cool. Okay. So the other thing is that I think this is amazing, especially when, I know people that had rough childhoods and things that happen, and there's certain things during the day that will trigger them, right? And they would tell me of this stuff is very triggering to them, and they just need like a reset. So the reset is trying to find someone to talk to. If someone to talk to, then if this is service available, then that's useful to them. My worry, even though this works, is that if this does work, is that you're very focused on one specific thing, which is refugees. And the value that I see in this, if it actually works, is that, I mean, this is like a replacement for Calm, right? Calm just makes you watch a video, do this thing. For someone that has like childhood trauma or triggers or things that happens, or during the day that someone says something that's triggering to them, whether they're a refugee or not, I envision this as being something I pop on my phone. Hey, I'm feeling triggered. I need to reset. Like, let me pop this up and see how this thing works. the question is like, why are you so focused on refugees versus making this open? Because I understand the cause behind it, and I 100% support that. But I always say to people that good efforts need money, and without money, the entire model breaks. So laser focusing on one specific thing doesn't get you the money, and without the money, you can't do the good thing. So talk to me about those two things. I know it's a lot, but I'll stop there.
Okay, so in terms of the first question regarding speaking to a therapist, I absolutely agree. I've been in therapy for the last 15 years. I need someone to hear me as well. But, you know, a lot of the communities we talk with and work with have a lot of stigma. And this is kind of like a gateway, if you will, into exploring other modalities. And the thing with this particular modality of using EMDR and eye movements is it is really quick. Like Shastri, I really would love for you to come and try us on. I'll send you the link to do the intake. I guarantee you, everyone who's skeptical, I just invite them to come and use our platform. By the third week, you will see the difference, the results that you feel physically in your body as well, because it's both managing your thoughts as well as how you're responding in your body. So that's really cool. The second question on why the hyper focus with refugees. So we actually launched last year, and from I wanted to go with refugees because of my lived experience as a refugee. And I have noticed that a lot of the companies that do social ventures, these are like the harder communities to address. Like you said, like we need to do good, but the good comes later. And for me, it was really important just because of where I came from and my lived experience to go there first. But we have learned the lesson really hard. There is, so that's why we are pivoting. And we are pivoting to corporate wellness because,
I don't even think like corporate wellness is the pivot though. And again, I'm giving you feedback, and it's just because it sounds pretty cool if it does work, is that I think you need to reframe this. And Bilal, please chime in. Don't let me take up the whole sessions. But I just think you need to reframe this altogether. Like the focus here should be like trauma response. This is like the new version. This is the new calm, if you will. Like, because calm is great. Or even like, look, I've sit on a lot. I've been doing board meetings for a very long time, and I hate board meetings. I hate dealing with investors, even though I'm an investor. And like before it, I'm like, I just need to like calm my anxiety down. There's nothing that's gonna. And that's because of like trauma that I've had in the past, that I'm like, there's nothing that's going to happen here. There's nothing that's going to be bad. So like, if I had something like this to calm me down before a trauma response, that's valuable to me. So you focusing on this specific social cause or corporate or so on is missing the boat completely on how can I become a very quick, reliable, effective response for people during the day that are going through triggering situations, right? Can I just pull this up? Hey, I have a triggering situation coming. I have to pull this up. Can this be a replacement of comp? So I think the reframing is even different. I think that if the technology actually works, you focusing on refugees or you focusing on corporate is going to miss the target completely. It has to be direct to the consumer, because consumers, like there's this really good book. And it's very crazy to listen to, but it's called Good Morning Monster. It's a therapist that has 4 people that they talk to, and the things like the kids go, it's like one kid, the parent locked him in an attic for like 5 years of his life. He's not done nothing but use the bathroom on a can, and like she's going through therapy with these people. But there's a lot of people out there with trauma situations that things will trigger them, and they can use something like this, right? So my opinion is that if the tech actually works, corporate wellness is not going to work. Refugees alone is not going to work that well. It needs to be a replacement for calm, or with backed by actual science, in my opinion. And Bilal, I'll let you chime in. I'll stop taking over.
Bilal, any thoughts you have or questions for Sakeena?
Yeah. Look, Shastri, I was glad to have you to share your feedback. Clearly, it's an area you spend a lot of time thinking about. Sakeena, I got to decouple this, because there's one part of me that's thinking about the solution and the impact. And then there's another part of me thinking about the commercial application. I think Shastri really went into the commercial application piece of it, which I would agree 100%. I think reframing it and will give you more scalability. It makes it more of a venture-backed business. It's easier to raise capital. There's different sources of capital. But let me focus actually on the impact piece of it. And while I don't understand the science, what I will say, though, is that first, I want to commend you tremendously for bringing this and for having a purpose-driven venture. I think it obviously is something very near and dear to you. And this is a segment, the refugees, that are often neglected. They're not considered, they're not considered commercial enough. No one thinks about them. And yet there's so many, especially when we think about what's happening in the world right now. So, but if you do decide to go down that pathway, let me give you a different set of thinking than what Shastri shared, right? Which is, how do you want to raise capital for this business? And who are your sources of capital? And I would say that there's something really interesting. There are a lot of major organizations that focus on kind of refugees and their health. And I think of organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I think about these global endowments that would be a really interesting pool of capital to validate the technology and also give you a channel into a global network. I also happen to know a guy who runs McKinsey for the Middle East and North Africa. He happens to personally be very passionate about issues related to refugees. And I think that I'm gonna reach out to him and share your technology and what you're building. Maybe you can, after this call, give me like a little blurb, because I think given the world that he operates in and McKinsey is obviously an incredible channel, he might be able to give you some really interesting insights as well on how to take this to the next level. I think in North America, we don't think about this issue as much, and so we don't see the challenge. And Shastri thinks about platforms like Calm, which are direct to consumer. But I think in the rest of the world, the refugee issue is bigger. They interact with it a lot more than we do in North America. So maybe that's just some of my feedback and thoughts.
No, I mean that's great feedback, and like I said, I'm not discounting the refugee part of it. I think I really want this to work in that side of it. I really want it to be successful there. My fear has always been, like, for example, when we started Friday, right? Like we always kind of like, thought about the collective good of the people and what they would be willing to do. But in reality, people are not always as good as we think that they are, in a sense. Like, they're not always willing to give. They're not always willing to, everyone wants to make money. Everyone wants to do these different things. We're very capitalist in nature. So in order for something like this to be very successful, and for it to work for a very dire need population like refugees, my thought is that, hey, how can you make this thing very successful and bring in the money that you need in order to support the refugees better and support us better? Not saying ignore them. How do you actually build this up for permanence, in a sense?
Yeah.
And I agree. Like we with what's going on in the world, we see the refugee problem, we see this happening. But our organization is going to work with you versus working with the likes of Calm, if you will, or people that are well known. So how do you make yourself well-known or permanent so that these four foundations work with you is kind of the thought process that I was going with.
Yeah, super. Thank you, everybody. And Sakeena, thank you so much again. Like, to reiterate, everybody, very impactful work. I'm sure that everybody on this call is connected in one way or another to groups and organizations that would really benefit from having this in their Rolodex of resources for the people they support. And I'm excited for that QR code to come up for people to be able to connect with you from the audience. That said, I think we're going to move over to giving the team 60 seconds to be able to really discuss and think about whether they want to move forward with any diligence calls and keep having conversations. And while we're doing that, the QR code is up if anybody in the audience wants to chime in with any thoughts on the pitch and demo we just seen. And I might highlight some comments as we're doing that. A question, Sakeena, while we're here, that Hamad asked, have you tried selling to governments and aid agencies? What does your partnership strategy look like with orgs that you're already working alongside?
So some of our funding is from private foundations, and some of it is from governments. So we are funded by the Ministry for Global Affairs Canada. We previously were funded by USAID, but that went away. But yes, we were trying to get partnerships with UNHCR and a lot of the NGOs. So if there are people here who are connected or have connections, please do reach out to me. I would love introductions and connections within the aid agency ecosystem.
Super. And can you, if you don't mind, share a little bit about you and the team and your expertise kind of leading to building this platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I am from a technology background and product. So I have built very successful products in the past that includes impact products. And then in our team, we have our neuroscientist. He is a leading neuroscientist in Canada and Toronto. His name is Dr. Benjamin Dunkley. And then we have 3 therapists who are EMDR consultants. And between them, they have worked with specifically really high trauma groups. And between them, they have about 45 years of experience. Then my co-founder is also an initial investor, and he has got multiple exits, and a CTO as well, who has a lot of technology experience. And we are a small team, but an impactful team of 6 people with some part-timers and volunteers.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And we're going to take that poll away. I'm going to turn it back to our funders. We will start with Shastri. How do you feel? Do you want to go into more conversations to figure out if there's anything worth collaborating on or potentially investing?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to dig in a little bit more. Even outside of funding, I'm sure there's ways I can help on the company's growth, scaling, technology things. So love to dig in more.
Bilal.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is a hugely impactful opportunity, and you don't get those across your table every day. So I'd love to see how I can help. Because this is a funding platform, I think we do need to work a little bit on how you position this for fundraising. And I think Shastri and I can work with you to hone in that message and the channels to get the right funders around the table. Assuming you want to do that, because we don't want to kind of shift the purpose of what you're trying to do. But I'd love to help. I'd love to learn more, and I'd love to see this expand and grow.
All right.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakeena. And we're going to pull up the QR code again. This is a call for everybody here on the path that they're on right now. If you have any connections, you're interested in discussing funding, really just offering support, this is the mechanism to connect with them, and the team is going to put you in touch. So we'll keep this up for a minute before we move on to our third pitch. All right. Okay, and you'll also see the link is going to be in the chat as well, if that's easier for you. But without further ado, we are going to go into our final pitch and demo, and that is with Jawwad Hasan. Thank you for joining us. Jawwad is the CEO and co-founder of Agrilift. Agrilift is an AI-based precision farming platform that helps improve crop yield and profitability across all stages of the seed to harvest cycle. Really excited to have you here, Jawwad, to close us out. So I am going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Nour. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity. Excuse me. My name is Jawwad Hasan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Agrilift. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the problem we're solving, the scale of the opportunity, and why we believe Agrilift is positioned to lead the next wave of agriculture innovation, profitably and globally. But before we start, here's some food for thought. If you want to create lasting value in any economy, you really only look at 3 places. Resources above the ground, that's where humans and our intelligence comes in. Resources below the ground, that's where minerals, oil, and gas comes in. And resources on the ground, that's where agriculture comes in. And without agriculture, neither 1 nor 2 would be possible. So in a world divided by borders, we can agree there's only one thread that unites all of us. That's the food that grows from the ground. It's a fundamental aspect of our existence, and it goes beyond cultural and geographic boundaries. And unfortunately, agriculture is one of the last major industries yet to undergo full digital transformation. It accounts for over 4% of global GDP. That's a few $1 trillion. And yet farmers today still rely on intuition and not insights for most of their decisions across the entire crop cycle. What's the result? Suboptimal yields, shrinking margins, and massive inefficiencies. Now here's the core problem. Every crop cycle demands hundreds of micro decisions. When to sow, when to irrigate, how to increase plant population, and so on and so forth. And today, most of these decisions are either made too late or in the dark. The lack of accurate insights is costing the farmers and the wider industry billions of dollars. That's further evidenced by a joint FAO and World Bank study that found up to 25% of yield losses globally are due to untimely or uninformed farm decisions. That's a $200 billion problem annually, and this is growing. Enter Agrilift. We've built FarmLink, a deep tech proprietary platform that collects data from multiple sources around and on the farm, such as seed characteristics, soil nutrients, weather, drone imagery, satellite imagery, and farm input logs. Through digital twin mapping, this platform brings the farm to a farmer's palm. And the comprehensive data set powers evidence-based, actionable insights for farmers across all stages of the seed to harvest cycle. So in other words, FarmLink empowers farmers to make the right decision, backed by the right insight, exactly when it matters. That's why adoption to our platform is so sticky and the market pull is so strong. And here's the best part. We built and tested it in Pakistan, not by chance, but by design. Because Pakistan is one country that offers the full spectrum of agriculture challenges, along with a low R&D and general cost base. Like we've got everything. We've got smallholder farms, scattered farms, a big problem of weeds infestation, soil variability, input misuse, infrastructure gaps, poor internet, poor roadwork, poor crop economics, and now climate change as well. So if it works here, it scales anywhere. In July of last year, we did a soft commercial launch. The intent behind going to market was to scale our product development efforts through commercial contracts. Since then, we've onboarded 25,000 acres. That's roughly 85% the size of San Francisco. We've achieved $800,000 in annual recurring revenue. We're projected to cross $1.2 million within the next 2 quarters. We have 40,000 acres on our waitlist, and that's purely driven by word of mouth and partner referrals only. And we've collected, as a result, data on over millions of acres. In our first season of delivering insights, despite all the teething issues, we added $500,000 in additional profits for 80 farmers through cost savings and yield enhancements. This is proof of direct ROI. For the last 3 years, we've been bootstrapping to get to this point. We're on track to achieve break-even profitability by the end of the year. And the good news is that we got to this point with only $1 million of investment, which, So the tech is built, field tested, and revenue generating. Now we're raising $5 million to scale, expand the team, deepen product capabilities, and target a commercial launch in the US. We've already established a pipeline of customers in the US, and we're in final stages to start POCs this year. To conclude, the timing is right, the model is proven, the opportunity is massive. We're building an intelligence layer for global agriculture, and we're doing it with discipline, traction, and a clear path to scale. And we'll be excited to have you on the journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else that we should show the funders, or should I pivot the conversation over to get their thoughts?
So we have a demo video, I think, as well, so we can.
Super. I think the team will pull that up now.
Cool. So I'm not sure what speed you're going to play it at, but I'm going to quickly try and do a voiceover over this. So this is the main platform, which is a landing page. We joke around this in the team. This is an MVP 6.0 version. We're going to revamp this year. All the yellow pins that you saw, they're all farms that are currently active, either on a commercial basis or on product development basis. We're going to switch you over now very quickly to the main page where when you open the Explorer page, which gets you to the farm, this is that digital twin of the farm, which is done through drone imagery, and it's processed. The images are processed through the platform to make one big orthomosaic. As you can see, each field has its own crop sown over there, or a different variety of the same crop. And over on the bottom side is all the reports or different types of dates where images been captured over. What you see now is a crop health report, which shows you the overall farm score. So this is actually a case study as well for us, where we were able to actually catch a disease for a farmer at the right time. So we'll show you now a root cause analysis. So one of our agronomists has left a comment there. There's I found blackleg disease, communicated that to the farmer, and immediately then the farmer has taken action as well. So there's evidence as well of that disease. Here we go. That's the pictures that we put up on the platform. And the interesting thing is that when you tag a comment here when it says disease, that kind of acts as a training data for us as well. And you can see the before and after. On the left-hand side is the before we found that disease, and the right-hand side was the after, where the crop health had actually completely changed after the interventions that we advised the farmer. So just one very quick point on this. So when the agronomist actually goes in and tags any particular problem, whether it's disease or pest or water stress or any of that sort of thing, that's actually building training data for us as well. And the more data that we have, obviously, the better predictions that we can build out in the future as well. Love to hear comments and questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's so exciting. I'm going to turn it over to Bilal first, if you have any thoughts. But if you want a second, we can punt it over to Shastri. Let me know.
Yeah, I can give some quick thoughts first, and then Shastri and I can go back and forth. First of all, this is it's a very interesting space you're playing in. I recall a number of years back, Google acquired a data platform for agriculture, and I can't recall what the name was, but they paid over $1 billion for that, and at that time that was a major acquisition for them. And so this data layer that you're talking about is obviously extremely valuable. And now when you put the overlay of kind of analytics on top of that, it could do some incredible things. Operating in Pakistan is a really interesting test case. My question for you, though, is you said you'd raise $1 million. You're looking to raise 5 million more. Do you have any strategics involved in that first million? Like, who is your target kind of investor base, even in terms of your customer base? Do you have any major multinationals that operate in this particular space? Like, who is your customer target, and who is your potential target investor base?
That's a fantastic question. So I'll split that question into two parts, right? So we're a product company. Our go-to-market is primarily with channel partners. These are your fertilizer companies, your agri-tailers, even large growers or co-ops or corporate farmers as well. What we've been able to find is we've been able to use our channel partners networks to scale very quickly. So these, for example, are your fertilizer companies who already have a base across the country in Pakistan. This is a very kind of tried and tested model as well out in the US as well, where you leverage off that network of companies that have that footfall or that foot presence. And then getting that insight to the farmer then becomes the channel partner's responsibility. But you work as a package because you're a principal product company. So you work as a package and you onboard farmers and you direct all those referrals over there. On your second part, who have been our main investors? So a lot of them initially have been our friends and family. Recently, one of the, I don't know if you're aware of National Foods. We joke around where every Pakistani household has some kind of a masala box or a achar box from National Foods. So their CEO actually recently invested in us about 6 or 8 months ago. So they're one of our strategic partners as well. But on the longer term horizon, so Pakistan, like I said, is a not just a test case, but also a product development market for us, and it'll always remain a product development market. So any contracts and customers that we work with over here primarily are those that can offer us that scale for product development, number one, and number two, the likes of Pepsi, the likes of British American Tobacco, both of whom are either customers currently or are in the pipeline to become customers for us. So these are those companies that will help us get that international scale as well.
Cool. Shastri, go
ahead. Two things. One, I guess you kind of answered the question of like not selling directly to farmers, but I would assume that selling to farmers is a tough sale because one, they may not be as tech savvy, or maybe they are tech savvy now, and I'm just not aware of it. But they also, unfortunately, may not have like a lot of money to spend on some of these things, which is, I always hate thinking or saying that because it's like the backbone of the world, right? Farmers, and the most underpaid people ever. But they don't have much money to spend on technology, and one and two, they may not understand the benefits of technology enough to adopt this. So that's my first comment. The second is, why would you want to come to the US? I mean, I feel like there's a lot of competition and kind of like this type of analysis of data in the US when there is a lot lacking in other parts of the world, like Pakistan, India, Africa, places of the sort. Seems like there's a lot more scalability and money to be made, especially when exports are a huge business for the United States.
Yeah, no, great question. So I'll answer part 2 of the question first, if that's okay. So why US? So this is a very tried and tested model. So companies like Affinity, Motive, FireEye, they all became unicorns with an unfair advantage of cost arbitrage. As far as farmers are concerned, we think that farmers are not very tech savvy, but they're actually economically, they're the best managers of finance that you'll ever find. Because every time a farmer is making a decision, the only thing he's thinking about is ROI. Every time they're looking to spend dollars, they're thinking about ROI as well. So as far as the US is concerned, so 50-60% of the precision ag industry is in the US, South America, and Canada. So tech adoption there is quite high. From an Agrilift standpoint, we stand to gain, twice more value selling this platform in the US compared to any other country. There's a huge cost arbitrage as well for us because our back office will always be in Pakistan. There is an element of value creation on the farm as well. So when we talk about some of the things that we've actually been quite successful at is bundling this as part of a principal service or a product with another company, and having that as an additional service being given out to the farmer. So when they see the value in it, then they become a very sticky customer. And we're seeing that happening in Pakistan, where just through word of mouth and referrals, we've got about 40,000 acres more in the pipeline that we're waiting to unlock for both commercial and product development perspective. Your first question, sorry.
I'll repeat the first question.
Yeah.
Isn't there a lot of competition for this in the U.S. market, though? I mean, I feel like, my previous company was in the consumer packaged goods space, and I always remember people talking about ag tech and like drone vision, computer vision for farmland. So it seems like there's a lot of competition in that space. Your original deck didn't kind of talk about the competition, but can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what is the competition, especially because in the U.S. market specifically?
Yeah, so absolutely. So look, I'll take a step back first. Before I talk about competition, let's quickly unravel farming first, right? So there's a lot of variables in farming. A lot can go wrong in farming, from climate to how you actually use fertilizer, water, pesticide, chemicals, and so on and so forth. So it's important to be able to control all of these elements and all of these levers, and nearly like building blocks. So the end outcome is sum of parts is actually much more superior than the individual outcome. So there is a lot of companies that are operating in, let's say, 2 or 3 different spaces where they give you a very good solution on weed detection. One company might give you a very good solution on, let's say, drone imagery and consequently crop health and so on and so forth. Farming needs a holistic value creation, and it needs a one-window solution that goes from seed all the way to harvest. And you want to be able to control as many levers as you can throughout that life cycle to create maximum value for the farmers. As far as competition is concerned, so there are a lot of companies, and without going into technical nuances of what they're doing, the main competition is Taranis. Taranis is a company that was founded in Israel, who've gotten actually quite a lot of success both in Central America and South America. And the part of the reason is that, holistically speaking, they've actually been able to drive that value with farmers. And they've actually been able to create that value as well with farmers, because the whole centricity around, it's not about taking a solution or taking a technology and force fitting it on a problem. It's more about what is the problem and what technology do I need to solve that problem? And then you figure out how to bring it all together. So that's kind of where we're very different.
What do they need in order to make this work? Is it a drone? Is it iPad? Like what do they need to make it work?
So yeah, drone. One of the main inputs that goes into the platform is a drone imagery.
Do you provide that drone?
No, we don't provide that drone.
So they have to buy their own drone.
Correct. So it's an established market. So that's how the market works as well. So the channel partner who we're talking about, whether it's an agronomy service company or a ag retailer or any other company, they're already servicing these farmers by licensing technology from companies like Taranis and, let's say, Grimo and Ceres AI and so on and so forth. So it's like Uber. So you got to buy a car to get access to Uber so that you can drive around picking up customers. So it's the same concept with farming as well. The only difference is the hardware is traveling to multiple farms.
Yeah, I get the model. What I don't hear you focusing a lot on, which I think is actually the biggest value creation driver of your entire platform is the data, right? And so, and just riffing on Shastri's point for a second, right? Like, if you were able to capture massive amounts of data like outside of North America, I think that would be tremendously valuable to some of the major global players in the world, right? Like, because I think the North American market is pretty advanced in drone footage in terms of farming. A lot of the farms are owned by large multinationals. And so there's a lot of advanced technologies there. But there's then the rest of the world, which, by the way, North America is deeply interconnected with by way of supply chain, right? Food supply chains, agriculture supply chains. And so, you know, for some of the North American or Western major players, they need predictability of crops in other parts of the world in order for their global supply chain to operate more effectively. And that data layer is really where I think 100%. There's a tremendous amount of value. And so I know you're focused on this kind of cost per farmer or, you know, a cost model tied to that. But I think if you, and I'm just riffing a little bit, so I can't give you, like, we can talk through this a little bit more, but I think if you think about how do you, like, think of this as a land grab for data, how can you, as quickly as possible, scale outside of Pakistan to other parts of the, you know, of the
non-US countries,
non-Western world, to be able to capture that data and provide it as a service for some of the large players?
I 100% agree with that, because my last company, you know, was a forecasting tool for brands, and we had, you know, large deals with Kraft Heinz and Spindrift and all those companies. And the reason why we won a lot of these deals is we had the most data. We were strategic enough that we created a partnership with Nielsen to have access to POS data before they figured out that outside companies would have their POS data be valuable to them. And we trained our models on all of this consumer behavior. So when we were to pitch to people, it's like, you should use us versus this company because we can predict consumer behavior better because we had more data. And we won the deals because our predictions were that more accurate. So I do think there is something there. If there's a faster adoption rate outside of the US, there is a huge data grab, because then when you come to the US, you can say, I am more accurately in predicting or testing it out because I have the most data in the most harshest of circumstances.
Yeah, and that's Bilal and Shastri. That's exactly the thinking. So what we've been doing for the last 4 years is collecting that data, which is our true IP as well, right? So we've captured data on millions of acres, both on ground and through imagery, whether it's drones or satellites or whatever that is, and it opens up a lot of use cases. For us, I think what's more important is what the thinking was. Our entire thinking has centered around using Pakistan as a launchpad for testing. So what I want you to imagine us as a stealth company operating in Pakistan, where product development is happening in our back office. And you know, now that the product is ready, we're kind of ready for commercial launch. And that is where, and I keep pivoting back to the US, is not because, you know, yes, there is sophisticated technologies available over there, but there's a lot of intricate differences between what we're doing and what other competition is doing. And the market is the US, because the precision ag adoption rate over there is much higher. The value that you can actually create, not just for the farmer, but for the company as well, is a lot higher as well. So to give you context, you know, maybe I'm charging $1, $2 an acre, or maybe $8 a season. Competition is charging, let's say, $20 to $30 a season. And that's where, you know, you drive penetration within that space, within the industry. And then, yes, absolutely. So with companies like British American Tobacco, with companies like Pepsi, with companies operating in Pakistan that have an international footprint, you will absolutely go out. So we're currently talking to British American Tobacco, where we're seeing how we can integrate our systems with theirs and then roll it out globally.
All right. Super. Thank you all for this conversation. We are going to give the funders a chance to think through over the next 30 seconds if they're in or if they're out. In the meantime, we are going to do the same thing we've done. We're pulling up a Slido for people in the audience to be able to engage and just share their overall thoughts. While we're waiting, Jawwad, if you see any questions in the comments that you really want to tackle while we have this time, please feel free to do that. There was a lot of engagement coming in throughout this conversation. And we'll let the rest of the audience chime in on Slido.
Data.
Out of curiosity, do you
Is
know
it-
how much a drone is to procure if the farm needs to do it themselves?
It depends. So it's about $4,000 for a drone, which can go up to, let's say, 2,000 acres. So the unit economics of that works out to be about less than $1 per annum per acre. And because farmers actually look at acres for their P&L profitability.
Very cool. Thank you. Yeah, it seems a lot of people are really engaged with this and think this could be game changing, but also looks like we're coming back to the idea of data pretty significantly being the driving factor here.
Data is I mean, I even, where my head actually went is that, you know, we always talked about my last company, if I can give agriculture data to CPG companies or manufacturers just to know how, like, someone who makes guacamole, like, are they going to have enough avocados? What's the production like? I mean, people would, I mean, I think people would pay for that data. And their forecasting models.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to close out this segment. I'm going to turn it back to Shastri. Are you in or are you out to keep having this conversation?
I'm interested in having the conversation more. One, to just dig in a little bit deeper to understand a couple of things, but yeah, definitely want to have more of a conversation.
All right.
Well,
And Bilal.
team on things too.
Yeah, Jawwad, thank you. Look, clearly you're an expert in this space. You've spent the better part of your life and career thinking about this. I don't know a lot about agriculture. It's not a sector that I spend a ton of time on. I do understand data, and so I'd love to riff with you at some point on like how you're thinking about the data thing, because I think the narrative that you're shaping, you know, I think there's a lot to unpack there. So I'd be happy to have that conversation with you. I think from an investment perspective, I'd say I'm out, but I'd love to help you find the right investors, maybe shape your pitch a little bit, or think about how you can present this in a way that would be very appealing to investors.
Amazing.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So we're going to do the same thing. We're pulling up this QR code for the rest of the audience to be able to engage. The team will also share this as a link in the chat if that's easier to access. Facilitated networking will happen after this via the Max team. So we'll keep this up for a second. Jawwad, thank you so much. This was so exciting. I think we had 3 fantastic pitches happen today. I have a few announcements and some teasers for upcoming events, so I encourage you all to stay tuned. And we'll keep this up for another minute before we close out.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Bilal and Shastri, thank you so much. Any closing thoughts while we're still here and have you guys on the screen?
Nour, you did a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You I felt like you were one of the investors alongside us asking great questions. So thank you.
Thank you.
Really great.
Super. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. I'm going to transition to a few thoughts, some closing announcements for the audience here, and some upcoming events coming. So everybody, that is a wrap on episode 7, which was the season finale of this series and this season. Very excited to have you. Over the last 7 episodes, the Max team has been able to showcase 20 different startups that have gone on to win awards, pitch in front of institutional investors, secure funding, and it's been a very worthwhile experience to have them all here. And it's everybody's enthusiasm in the comments, in the Slido, and bringing founders into this organization to be able to keep this series going. So stay tuned, as they are going to revamp the next season at the end of the year. In the meantime, there are some exciting events, some that are owned by Max, some that are happening in collaboration with Friday. So first up, in Toronto Tech Week on June 26th, there is going to be a Muslim VC and LPs of North America dinner happening during the week. Friday will be present, so you'll see Shastri in person if you guys are able to make it. You can register now for this, and space is limited, so make sure to do it early, and we'll make sure that you're the qualifying candidate to be able to join this dinner. In addition to the Toronto Tech Week lineup, Friday's going to be hosting something in person alongside a group of folks in Toronto to be able to have some more presence there as well. Moving forward, we have a live founder pitch night. So if you like this is going to be replicated in person in New York in formal collaboration with Friday. On July 11th, we're working with HSBC Innovation Banking in a beautiful venue to be able to bring together 100 founders, VCs, angels, all in one room for unparalleled networking. We'll have a few more highlights, engagement with funders, but really bringing this to life in an in-person capacity. So we'll hope to see you in New York if you can make it. And if you can't make it, no worries. This is also going to be happening again in September in collaboration with Deloitte. We'll have a founders pitch night in collaboration with MAXPitch, continuing on with Deloitte. Let me see if I have any other statements other than a really, really warm thank you for everybody who's been here. Stay tuned for the end of the year when we're going to re-pick up this season. If you are interested in being a founder or a funder, you could reach out to the website on onemax.org/MERN, which is the Mentor Investor Referral Network, and fill out the form, or email Nadeem directly, nadeem.ahmed@maxgala.com. I'll see if anybody in the team can drop that in the comments here. If not, follow-up emails will come. We'll thank you guys again so much for being here, listening to 3 fantastic pitches. And if you've recurringly joined episodes, listening to the 20 that come through this season, thank you. Make sure to engage and share these posts when they get posted across Max channels, and have a fantastic weekend. And that's a wrap. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you once again for joining us at MAXPitch, a regular web series dedicated to helping the best Muslim entrepreneurs showcase their innovative ideas to seasoned investors and get access to the capital needed to turn those ideas into reality. That's right, folks. MAXPitch isn't just an engaging platform. It transforms the trajectory of these businesses. And what an honor it is to have you bear witness. MAX, or Muslims Achieving Excellence, is a nonprofit organization completely run by the most dedicated volunteers. Thank you to our team behind the scenes who have devoted their time and energy to carefully curate the episode before you. Please follow Max on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, and please join us for other related programming. There is always something new in store for you. MAXPitch, a production of MERN, or the Muslim Investment Referral Network. We cannot wait to see all of you back at our next episode. And as you return, bring a friend. We are always looking to expand our MAXPitch network. No information in this or other episodes of MAXPitch in any way expresses investment advice or guidance. This show is produced exclusively for entertainment purposes only. Please do not quote us to your financial advisors.